welcome back.
Sup?
Book Club Americanah.
Back at ya
We still
with
have dates.
The
Back
fourth
at you
episode.
the 4th episode. Date.
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 We
And books.
and the trash can.
And
yeah,
paid.
the
And
trash
emotional
can's
baggage.
Yes.
Great, but it's
Let's talk about nationalism.
Fantastic.
Who wants to start?
I guess I can go. I felt like when she was in America, she never felt like she was American.
Yeah.
Like, she never truly felt, like, proud of her country. And, I mean, you don't have to be, but I feel like everyone has a general, like...
sense of home almost.
Yes. She always felt like she was on vacation somewhere. Like, in some new, glamorous place. But it also, like, wasn't glamorous. Like, you know that, like, those books where the main character will go away someplace and have this amazing adventure and come home and she'll be, like, happy? I never felt like America was that happy, safe place.
No.
It constantly felt like this place where it was the adventure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because she learned a lot. I mean, because America, while it has its definite, like, there are definite flaws. There are some very good things, but there are a lot of, especially with our history and everything, there are a lot of issues I don't think she was fully
Ready
prepared for.
Yeah.
I feel like her decision to kind of come to America was heavily influenced on her thinking Opensay would be there.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading and I was like, and then she was just like, okay, I'm going to go to America. And I remember never really understanding
Why?
what was the reason behind
Yeah,
her
there's
wanting to
no-
go. Her reason to go was, once again, like all her decisions, tied to her boyfriend.
Yep.
And it was just...
And then she
And
kind of
tied to her like reputation because
Yeah.
she thought like, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm going to get a very nice job and everyone's gonna look up at me because
Right.
I'm better than them.
And America itself places the country like on its own pedestal.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, in some ways, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And
We
then in
are a
other-
superpower. That is...
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But
yes,
we
and Mr.
think...
Croft thinks we're the greatest country on earth.
Oh my gosh.
I think it depends on what you're arguing for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
We're
think-
the best at incarcerating people.
Yeah.
What?
We're the country where most people believe in angels. I mean,
Angels?
Dangerous?
I'm not kidding.
This is an act. Where did you read this?
Yeah, where are you getting this from?
We most Americans, like a really high percentage of Americans believe in angels.
That's kind of sweet, actually.
I feel like we all, it's definitely an undeniable fact. We are a superpower. We do have our hand. We are generally the best at everything.
We're also very entitled.
Worldwide.
80% of Americans believe in angels. 80%.
That's so cute, though.
It's so like hopeful and like,
I mean, that's
Oh my god, one of the articles that popped up was like 7 things Americans believe more than man-made global warming.
Global warming is another
That's
topic
a
for
whole
another
thing.
day.
Doesn't
Sorry.
pertain to the book, but if you really like the podcast, I mean, we could just sit here and rant all the time. Like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Ranters, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we place ourselves on this pedestal, which I mean, like
We
I
are-
said, in some.
Kerr was kind of the embodiment of that.
Yes.
And
And
was
Blaine.
he the
Oh,
American
Blaine.
dream the whole time?
Was
But
he the American
and then
boy?
because she took a part of herself out, that represents how much immigrants have to sacrifice for when
I
it comes to
read
America.
somewhere that people like call America a melting pot, like, because we are. But in reality, we should not. We should try to describe ourselves more like a mosaic, which in a melting pot everyone conforms to be the exact same thing. But in a mosaic, it's a bunch of different pieces coming together to make something beautiful. I remember reading that, and that kind of struck me. Where like it's kind of true. A lot of people who come here take away parts of themselves because they're like, I gotta be that perfect American girl or boy that doesn't actually exist.
Right,
No,
no,
it really
but
doesn't.
see that, one of the things I really appreciate about America is that, I mean, using the whole melting pot statement, that doesn't really make sense, but it's unique in its own way because it's different.
Every part of America is a part of something else. I don't
Yes,
care what
yeah,
anyone
sure.
says, like America, blah, blah, blah. Every single part of it is something else. The architecture you see here, some of it's Spanish,
Some of it's
Yeah.
French.
Italian.
Yeah.
Every piece of America is a different piece, and if you refuse to acknowledge that, you're just trying to continue to be ignorant that we are great, for lack of a better term. We are a superpower, and we are a very developed and advanced country. But to not acknowledge that we've gotten here because people from around the world, we are a congregation of immigrants
Yeah, that's
who
so
bring
true.
a bunch of different
Yeah.
ideas. It's that general idea of like, when you have a bunch of different people, you're going to get more ideas. That is basically what America is. It is a giant group project of people with a bunch of different ideas.
And when you throw people out of that group project, it's just dumb because your group project was built on the backs of those other group projects.
Exactly, and then we can't, in an ideal world, we would recognize that we are not wholly one thing.
Yes.
But I mean, because of the background, we talked about this in the racism episode, in our history, it makes it difficult to actually appreciate how different we are to a lot of other countries, and it kind of undermines some of the strides we've made towards the betterment of everything,
Yeah.
the accepting different races and ethnicities and everything. But we can't ignore the fact that we have problems just simply because we're America.
Yeah, like
And we're supposed to be this great place.
We are
for
the, like,
everyone.
emblem.
And
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, it's really not
we like to
that great.
we like to brush a little polish on it and dust the bad things to the side and say like, welcome to America. Live in this beautiful hotel and come to visit. But don't
Exactly.
look at these streets.
But don't look at our national debt.
These
Yeah.
are the flaws.
Don't look
these
at our shooting statistics. Don't look
Yeah.
at the.
These are the small bad things about us. Everyone has their flaws, and these are our flaws. They're not flaws. We need to recognize they are parts of us because we are not a perfect utopian society.
No, by any means.
And that's what nationalism is. It's thinking that we are a utopian
Yes.
society and not recognizing the faults in trying to make America like
Yeah.
a better
I
country.
feel like nationalism with her was almost America was her way to open her eyes to see how great Nigeria was for her. Because
Yeah.
I definitely don't think America was where she needed to be
No.
to be the person she needed to be. And Open's same. Like with both characters, the different countries they went to thinking that would be perfect, it just opened their eyes to realize, I shouldn't be here trying to be perfect. I should be back in my country because that's home for me. Don't go where you think you'll be the best version of yourself. Go to the place that you are the truest version of yourself, is generally the total notion of this story. Sure, she was perfect with her great job and her great boyfriend, went to
she just-
Princeton in America, but she was self-destructive
And depressed.
And
and
depressed.
hated her
Depressed.
body and constantly her job revolved around observing the way other people reacted to her identity.
Yeah.
She was so not
Her
happy.
appearance, everyone thought she was beautiful and they all pretty much loved her,
Mhm.
but she thought she was like ugly and like fat.
Yeah.
And it's because of small comments people made.
Yeah.
But the second she came home to Nigeria, I think her new blog, which I was surprised to see she even made a new blog, but her new
Yes.
blog made, like, it was about the redemptions of a
Yeah.
place. It wasn't,
Mhm.
because I think that's kind of like, it was a,
So negative in America.
yes, it was
Yeah.
like a dichotomy
It really
of
is.
like, America, her blog was about all the way people were racist generally
Yeah.
and reacted to race, but the redemptions of Lagos, it was about the small things that are making, even though Nigeria is generally seen in a bad light and kind of corrupt, it was the small things that make it better. And that was where her real nationalism lay.
And like towards the end of the book, she finds the small things to love about a place. But in America, she never really did that.
It was
She
all about
never-
the big picture, all
Yeah.
about the facade, all
Yeah.
about maintaining.
America's not meant to be everyone's home. It takes.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, you gotta, one thing, I do like how much pride we have, but that we're not the only nation that has pride with
No.
behind their
No.
colors, behind their flag, behind
Yeah.
everything else. We just have a hard time acknowledging the fact that,
We like to think
Yeah.
we fought on this ground, everything's ours, look at this, look
just
at
because
this.
we're
Great.
militarily
Yeah.
very powerful,
Yeah.
which is a good
And
thing.
I think
It
our,
is, yeah.
our revolution on its own was a pretty like out there statement.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I feel like if you asked anyone who's had a generally, not anyone, but like people who've had a generally standard education throughout their country, if you said, like, do you know at least a little bit about the American Revolution, they would probably say yes. Like, around the
Mhm.
world, not to say everyone. But like, I mean, can any of us say anything about the like, what's another revolution? Like, there's
The French Revolution,
Yeah.
the Russian Revolution. I know all the revolutions.
I know about the French Revolution because of Charles Dickens and A Tale of Two Cities.
Right.
But I mean, like, look at, I could only name one more revolution.
Right.
I mean, Indian,
See, like,
there was the, but like, it's pushed to the back of our side. Revolution.
the
America's
British Revolution,
first
the British
thing,
Revolution.
the American Revolution.
Right.
And it's like, we're kind of seen as like the rebellious teenagers.
We're the underdogs.
Yeah, and
And
like
as Mr.
Yeah,
Kraft
we
put it,
love to put ourselves as the underdogs, even though now we're
we're
the,
not the
we're the
underdogs.
we
top
are,
dog, like-
yes, we are hands down the ones pulling the strings of everyone, basically.
And as Mr. Croft put it,
Oh God, no.
Do we want to use
Do we
it?
even
are
want to
very
use
using the analogy, okay?
Oh my god.
And as you say, you already used it though, so.
Did I? Oh, the rebellious teenager!
No!
I hate myself for using that.
Hey, it makes sense though, because that rebellious teenager, depending on the teenager, they end up incarcerated and dead, or they end up like,
Yeah.
decent people.
Because I guess in general,
So-
America is fulfilled the American dream. Like, we went from a couple colonies to, look at us now!
Yeah.
Oh, the Haitian Revolution. That was a fun.
There was a Haitian revolution?
Yes, there was.
It was dope, let me tell you.
It was dope.
It was the coolest revolution.
You'll have to tell me about it later.
It was great. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Well, and I just don't think if Mello came to America with the right state of mind, like she wasn't ready to accept the fact, because with her, like you talked about, her own nationalism, what she views Nigeria, even though she doesn't really like Nigeria that much, and she has a weird perspective on her home life.
Yeah.
But we'll go. That's a different thing. But she wasn't prepared to accept another viewpoint of what a great country could be, even though she didn't really think that it, like I said, complicated.
I feel like it's what a lot of immigrants see. America is that beautiful place behind the TV screen. It's where everyone can do anything. It's where, like, people get a lot of money. Like, definitely in India, a lot of my relatives, some of the not so good relatives, definitely, like, expected my parents when they got there, they were like, you're going to send us a bunch of money because that's what you do. And, like, she sent her parents money.
Yeah.
And it's that people think, but, like, a lot of people, I don't think that, like, a lot of people in America would have the ability to, like, fund their
Families.
families.
Yeah.
From here. It's just that we like to present an air of, like, everyone's well off, look at this beautiful house, I live in suburbia,
Right.
yay.
And then in reality, a lot of college students can't afford to pay rent and like eat spaghetti. So
They just eat ramen. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, you expect them to be great. And, like, America's nationalism, we
We're
love.
toxic nationalism.
We are toxic
Yeah.
masculinity.
In form of a country.
Wow.
that's an interesting way to put that, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind
Mr.
of true.
Croft. Get a new analogy. Get our analogy.
We don't need to address it in this.
I want to cut that out later.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Well,
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think, like, America's nationalism on its own, it's something that we like to pride ourselves on being the ones who left, the ones who took a stand. We still take a stand and we'll fight for the little guy, even though we've become the big guy who stomps on all the little
like
guys.
that angry little chihuahua, in a weird way. Like they're
Oh,
yeah.
They're really mean.
I thought you were talking about, like, Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
No.
I love that movie. I need to watch.
I have one of them.
Does it
They used to.
Or the weird pit bulls. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
I
But
love
those are actually
it.
British.
Right. Yeah.
I love pit bulls.
But
Can we talk about
I mean,
prejudice against
yeah,
pit
yeah.
bulls? Leave pit bulls alone. They're cute.
Greyhound mixing.
Oh no!
Oh,
Yeah.
She was like, bulls are amazing.
Badly trained pit bulls. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
like pit
those
bulls,
mean
too.
dogs.
Like she died.
The dogs that can be really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chihuahuas.
Oh.
I took a test. It was a BuzzFeed test, and if I was a dog, they were like, "Yeah, you're a Chihuahua," and I was like, "Oh, great."
What dog would I be? This is totally
Golden
different.
retriever, Anisha. You would be a golden
Yeah, probably.
retriever.
Aw.
Yeah.
The freaking Chihuahua. It makes me really mad, but it's fine.
But it's like
On the topic
kind
of
see
nationalism.
it, though. Like I kind of see it.
Is this the episode we're gonna have to edit?
You don't want to let them see our conversation.
I partially
Oh,
find
I'll
it
into a
offensive. I'm like,
blue
really?
wheel.
Am I that bad? Which I know I am. But like,
Okay.
Okay.
see, I admit that I'm bad.
Admit your flaws. That's just what America
Yeah.
needs to do. Like
We're
not
never
even
gonna do that,
Yeah, it's
so-
not even flaws. It's just things that they
Stupid
want to.
decisions we've made.
Yes.
Yes.
We are so prideful and like so we
It's
don't
like-
want to admit we did things wrong. Like what was it? I think it was President Bush. Remember he said, "Oh, I've stopped ISIS." Like he,
Oh,
it was-
yeah.
and then
No.
he like I don't think he made like an official statement after they were like, "You didn't stop ISIS. There's still a problem." We also, a thing I've noticed about us, we like to mess with not mess, but we like to mess with other countries and their problems and
Yep.
try to take
We
care
have,
of it.
Yep.
we've like done so many coups in like other countries.
Yeah, like we
Well,
like to go into other countries and say like, "Don't worry,
We
you
can fix
big
this.
brother's
America's
gonna
here."
take out the bully."
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, and then
it
what
just
we
makes it
did with the
worse.
Vietnam War was the stupidest
Oh.
thing.
Are you done, America?
Even. Have you started
We
on
made
that?
It was very interesting, but like looking back,
No,
but
it's
at
not
the same
a
time,
war.
it's
It's a
stupid.
police action.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
But then we
Us
have a whole
making
damn-
decisions
I know.
because-
It's like when, you
Every
know,
time it makes me.
when you like have the kids who are like being bullied and they'll tell their parents don't interfere, it'll make it worse. We're the parents that interfere and make it worse most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll help.
Yeah,
But a
Vietnam
lot-
is a prime example. That was
That was
that was passion. Like
And like, okay, there was some one
wasted so
time
many
in
lives in Vietnam.
a class.
did.
It was one of our mom's class. A kid like said that the Vietnam War ended slavery.
And it's also we're so
Like,
not
then
informed
no.
of everything. We like the
they're
ones
not
that make us
close.
like. Remember
Right.
when AP History was going to be taken out?
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
portrayed America in a bad light. I remember being furious about that. I was
I
like,
know. I was like, well, see, the thing that
America-
bothers me most about everything is
Literally.
that the winners write the history books. There is more to the story than just the front cover of who won.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I just like seeing both sides of like the story.
It's like
not.
and you can't. History. Why do we learn it? It's because history,
Repeats
as
itself.
cliche as it
Yeah.
is, it literally repeats itself. Look at every revolution ever. Big bad oppressive guy. People just want basic human rights, and it escalates into something that becomes more of people realize they aren't the oppressive people
Right.
aren't
And
going
the
to
guy dies and
and
becomes
that's
okay for a while.
everything.
And then it's like,
It's
Yeah.
everything. It's because people are naturally, there's certain qualities they're going to repeat, and those translate into history. So you can't expect to take out the bad things just because it paints us in a bad way. No, we need to know those bad things so we learn from it. And that is like nationalism. It's toxic we'll coin the phrase toxic nationalism.
Yeah.
When you only want the good things shown rather than everything.
And I've noticed that America likes to take its problems and make them like our problems are the best problems. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
We're
weird
the
flex
best.
America.
We're the best at being racist.
We're the
like-
best at nationalism.
like that's being obviously
That's
racist.
not
Yeah.
a good thing to be proud of.
But like we
But
like
we
to be the
are.
best at everything.
So we
Because
have
like
to.
if we're the best at racism, that means we're the best at not race. Like, do you get it? If we're the best at
It's
the
a double
worst
negative.
problem,
It is.
we are the best in other things. That means we have the most like opportunities for people to be racist. It's a whole thing. I don't even know. How much time do we have?
Yeah, we need
So
to.
it's time.
And
Yeah.
10 more
has
minutes.
to-
We have
she has
20
to,
minutes.
Yeah, edit out like a 10-minute portion.
Oh,
of this
gosh.
whole thing, we
So-
can continue talking.
What else? You know, Dyke's nationalism probably also affected his.
Oh, for sure.
Because he doesn't know where he is in the world. Hands down goes with his appearance, race, because he doesn't.
Culture.
Yes.
We haven't gotten
Remember-
Yeah, and like
yeah.
he
Like,
just
when he
no
got-
genealogy that
And when he
he's
came to
supposed
Nigeria, he was so happy because he's like, everyone
This
was
is where I
like.
came from, yeah.
And I was
I belong here.
actually glad he didn't move back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because he would have lost a part of himself
Mhm.
that he would have felt the same way if Emily felt when she went to America. He would have been content, but it would have been a contentment without true,
happiness.
unabashed happiness
I feel
at
like
being
he
where he
could,
belonged.
if he did it right and did everything right, I feel like he could get to the point where he was honestly happy in Nigeria, but I don't think
At that
I
point,
don't think
it was
it's-
more, I
yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
with his depression, it was more finding a place.
Mhm.
Like, he's constantly like, I don't know where I belong. Is this even my country? And he was too, maybe sensitive after
Probably.
that,
Probably.
where
Yeah.
he was like, wow, this is
Yeah, no, I don't
where I
think he should
could've
move
been.
as a teenager, but if at some point
Maybe
and he's
if he was
like 30s
older.
and he's
Yeah.
like, well,
just to
you know what,
experience it.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that experience that. Like,
Yeah.
where do I actually belong?
And it's-
Oh, yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah. Hands down. But it's also like if you return to where you belong,
Ugh.
it's also like you don't really, because where you, once again, where you grow up, if you remove your family, is so
Your-
totally who you
yeah,
are.
it's your
I
home.
think, like, we grew up in Stillwater, like, and I feel like everyone is generally pretty nice here. But I remember going to Los Angeles, well, like in general.
I mean,
Sure.
But like I remember
On
going
the
to Los
outside.
Angeles. Yeah. I remember going to Los Angeles and like the first encounter I had with someone, rather like my dad's friend picked us up, but I remember the first encounter I had was the lady at the ticket booth, and she was so like rude to my dad's friend. Like he gave her like a large bill to pay for it. It was like $20, even though she only wanted like like 5, and she's like, "Can you pay with smaller bills?" And it was like a back and forth. And I remember being so like, I hate arguments and confrontation. I'm like a person like, "Kill me now." And I remember being shocked at how rude she was. And it's just like this like Oklahoman Southern. We hate being called Southern, but this
We're not
I feel
Southern.
like we honestly really want to be Southern.
we
Yeah,
want to
we
be
try-
the
we
we
try
wanna
so
be
hard to be Southern, but not
we want to be
Southern.
the Southern Bells, but they're sweet tea, but we don't want the slavery part.
Yeah, we're weird
We're
about it
Native
because we're in that
American.
position where we're not Midwestern and we're not Southern, but we're closer to Southern than we are. It's like,
We're
it's
just
like-
the
we're just
place
like
that
But we
between-
don't. We're not Midwestern.
Exactly.
Like, we don't have
Mid-Southern? Midwest Southern?
But we don't.
We could argue
Yeah.
Southern,
Yeah.
obviously, because
But-
Texas is like right there.
Yeah, but we don't have the Midwestern like stereotype.
We don't.
Oh, no.
We want to be the delicate
not
Southern
LA.
belle with,
Yeah.
with
We
the
don't-
sweet tea,
yeah.
but we
But, like,
don't
I
want that
love sweet tea.
slavery part.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
so, but there's a whole lot of crap that went down in Oklahoma that's never acknowledged as well.
like
We might
the
have,
Yeah,
like,
race riots.
hands down, like just the massacring of a bunch of Native Americans.
Yeah.
You
all the
know.
way up into the 70s. They were sterilizing Native American women in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was
wasn't
here,
even-
but that was, it was probably
Yeah.
It's
Like we're
Trail
the
tears.
dumping ground for
Yeah.
people we don't for white
We
people
were.
who didn't want other people.
We are hands down. I feel like a lot of like Native Americans, because they were like Oklahoma as a whole, it was basically where people were just forced to
It
go.
was the trash can.
Yeah,
It was the
we're the
trash
garbage
can.
can.
Yeah, we are.
We're like
We're
the
proud of it.
recycling can
Mhm.
because people wanted to think they're doing better.
Well, I mean, but it was Andrew Jackson and
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Mm.
But then people would be like, "Oh, it was more like Van Buren," but like it really was Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
Anyway. But like, yeah, we're a lot of like just like the discarded, like the dregs of humanity, basically came here, and then like a lot of then
Yeah.
it's just continuing further. Like Manifest Destiny kind of pushed it
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
so it kept going. But
Mhm.
the thing was, people were settled in California, so it just kind of met in the middle of like Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
then
We've got a whole bunch of mixes of everything.
bunch of
Yeah.
people. When we ran out of Manifest Destiny, we're like, why don't we have territories? You know, just blame something on them and go to war.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is a little off topic.
It really-
But this whole like everything's off topic. This is a little off topic. But you know what I hate?
It's all
I hate
connected.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hate in like movies and TV shows and books how like at least back then, now they don't do it as much. But when they're writing about like Native Americans and like it'll be a white person going to see Native Americans and experience their culture, it's always like a white person, and this isn't specifically about dance schools, but there's always like a half white or white person who is in the Native American group who
And
they will marry.
couldn't, yeah.
And it's like, or that Native American person secretly has some like ties to like white people, so then they become rich or something. And this wasn't exactly Dance with Wolves because I understand why she was white because translator, but I also think she didn't have to be the romance. But
Yeah.
But,
Don't get me
the
started.
main thing I was thinking of is there's a book by Bill Wallace. I actually love this book. It's called Buffalo Gal.
Yes.
I love that book, but I remember looking back and I was like, why did what's his face? His name's like Ben or something.
Yeah.
He's the blonde-haired guy who's with the Native Americans who makes fun of her and then falls in love with her. Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
I really
It's a
love
little
Bill
late
Wallace.
spoiler alert. I feel like you should say that first. And then
I don't think anyone's still reading Buffalo Gal by Bill Wallace.
I sure hope not.
I want to reread that book. It's cute. It has a cute romance. But I remember a thing that irked me about it was like he was living with Native Americans and all the stuff he did was like Native American, but he was white, and it's very clearly that he was white because or else her mom probably wouldn't have been happy with like him marrying her. Spoiler.
Mhm.
You're fine.
Well,
Read Buffalo
And it
Gal
all
by
ties
Bill
back
Wallace.
to the nationalism because even with people with their states, I not to generalize Texans, but I've
Texans.
noticed some
Texans
accent
don't
came out when I
pronounce
said
their T's.
Texans. That was sad. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people from Texas who are like, Texas is the best state. Oh my gosh, we got this, we got this. We do this better than you. It's big. We're by Mexico.
Yeah, family
Oh,
in Texas and their
We
own
could be
country.
our own country.
Yeah.
But like, did
And then
it?
the people from Arkansas are like, we can live in our own bubble. Like, yeah, we got it. And we're not any better, but we're a little bit different because, like I said,
Minnesota.
I just wanted to say Minnesota.
Minnesota.
And Wisconsin's like, we have the best cheese.
Yeah.
Everyone
It's like we
likes
got
to-
syrup and we're like Canada with more alcoholism.
In California, it's like, we're the big golden dream. But you know what? Everyone here's addicted to cocaine. So, like, yeah.
And it's like,
That place just.
And you come to be an actor, but you end up homeless because
Yep.
that's not how it works for most people.
May I have your attention, please? The library will close in 30 minutes. Please allow adequate check
for me to ride and you're under 18.
Oh my
That
God.
was so scary. I thought it was bloopers.
Okay, let's talk for like 7 more
I thought
minutes
that
because
was
we need to
gonna
make
be
the
like
30-minute
something
mark with the edits.
We have 12 minutes.
Okay,
Okay.
that was 30-minute mark.
Okay.
I'm so scared.
Anyways.
I thought there was like something happening.
Yeah, all the states. We were talking about California and cocaine. Right. And then,
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
California?
It's just everyone
and then
wants
New York
to be
is like,
their
we're the
own.
big apple.
Like
Yeah.
everyone wants
I mean-
to be their own definition of America.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
their states, like we're Oklahoma, we have the Oklahoman kindness factor.
And then, like, you were talking
It's
about.
honestly so annoying.
Yeah. You were talking about, like, how we should be a mosaic and not a melting pot.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
I feel like having something that's really unique about America is that all our states are so defined, unlike in other countries where the lines are more blurred.
Yeah.
In this, there's certain, like, not stereotypes, but certain things that each state
Notions.
notions that each state has that make it more beautiful, like unique, and I think that's like what's really kind of more special.
We come together to make, like in the end, like Mr. Croft said,
Yeah.
Government. Gotta love it.
like,
Government.
love that government class. Mr. Croft says, we all, in the end, we're gonna be there for each other. In the end, I'm not gonna look at you and be like, you're from Minnesota, I can talk to you. Like, I can't save you now,
I'm not
bud.
from Minnesota.
I know, I just keep looking at you because you're over there.
I remember that was the eye contact with me.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
the
so-
analogy also of stained glass window because you have the underlying everybody. We have our own American culture for sure, but then you get the different shades of everybody else coming from all over the world, and it makes this beautiful window at the
Yeah.
end. But you have the underlying, we're all united as one, but we're also completely different. Like if you look in this section, might be light blue with a different experience than up here with the.
Yeah, but in
Dark
the
blue.
end, if you ask someone, they're not gonna say, "Oh, like if I ask,
I like that
where
portion
are
of the
you?
window
Like,
more.
where are you from?"
No
I'm
one's gonna say
American.
Texas.
Yeah.
What?
No one's gonna be like, if you ask someone where they're from, they're
Like,
not
no-
gonna be like
I'm
specific.
unless like if you went to France and someone asked, "Where are you from?" You're gonna say
I'm
American.
from the
Yeah.
US,
Yeah, and then they're like, "But aren't you from Texas?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's part of it." But like, what about? Would you say you're the same as someone from Kansas? And you're gonna be like, "We're American."
Yeah.
It's essentially that we, as America, I think we have a very special type of nationalism in which we are so different, but we enjoy it in a way. Even though people, I think a lot, even what we've done, we've ragged on America quite a bit.
We do. We
But
have.
America does have its very own special type of nationalism
I agree.
of being proud of every small part of it.
Yeah.
Be it the Spanish architecture
Yeah.
out in New Orleans.
It's just so diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love that about America. I love how our history, though it is kind of sad and horrible at times and hard to swallow. I've said hard to swallow a lot in this. It's a
You
great
didn't say
place.
hard pill to swallow that.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
job.
Even though it's
Switched
hard
up a little
to
bit.
hard to deal with, we have a certain type of chutzpah. You
Chutzpah.
can't.
Hey.
We just it's hard. Like even though it's hard, we like to address it. It's throughout history, and people who choose to stay ignorant say it's America, it's America, it's America. All throughout. Are you're those are the people who aren't experiencing the true wonderful nationalism that American can give you.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Because when you're proud of America, when you're truly proud and not just proud of like the concept of America's that,
Yeah.
you're being proud of African American culture, Asian culture, like
Yeah.
Mexican, like
You're proud of the
Hispanic,
advances we've made
everyone.
in science and the
Yes.
medical
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
And you're also
And the TV shows we have.
6 more minutes. Wrap
Yeah.
this up, guys.
all right. Well, and also I hope in my lifetime, in our lifetime, we see people finally start to accept our history. Because in order to get over that last hump of having, to a lot of people, annoying nationalism and everything, but if we can get to the point where we admit the fact that we have done some things really, really
Yeah.
terribly wrong.
Like the concept of great again should stop being
Yeah.
presented,
We just want to
and
be
rather
great.
the concept of
Great.
being proud again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now we really don't like our history.
No.
And
No.
it
And
shouldn't
don't.
be, and at times it shouldn't be, but it has to be understood.
It has to be
Acknowledged.
acknowledged.
Yeah, and
Yes.
especially with the Civil War controversy, we need to
Put it aside.
We
It's a
need to-
thing that happened, and
we need to acknowledge that we had slavery and we were racist and we did fight a war to protect this terrible institution. and we need to acknowledge that, and we need to get over it.
Yeah,
Right,
we just
and-
need to pass all the bad stuff, but still acknowledge that it did happen.
Well,
And-
thinking about it now, acknowledgement has been a reoccurring theme through everything we've recorded between appearance and racism especially. Acknowledging
Yeah.
the fact that there is a problem.
That's what it boils down to.
It's
to
all
make
acknowledgement.
people
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Acknowledging someone's problems, someone's history,
But
someone's
not-
background, but not
Undermining
discrediting
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like being like if like by acknowledging it and being kind of self-righteous towards it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, and we need to lose. We can. Everyone's a little entitled, regardless.
Hands down.
Yeah.
But we can't be so entitled that we don't look past the bridge of our own noses.
Yes.
Like we have to. I mean, not look down on other people. We have to physically look down at the ground and realize that it's been worked by
It has been
our ancestors.
yes.
It's been worked by
There are
everyone.
bloods of slaves,
Yeah.
Native
Yeah.
Americans. It's ground in the end.
Everyone.
Blood's blood.
Yep.
But it's everyone, and that's essentially what we need to realize. Like, stop thinking, look past a person's face, and look at who they are. Acknowledge what a person is, what a country is. Just
And
stop
then we
being
need to
judgmental.
look past the first image of America and look down to the bare bones of how we
It's
do some
formed.
things great,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we also do some
really
things
bad
that are not
things.
so
Yeah.
great.
Like, I don't think the vast majority of America is definitely not proud of slavery or proud of
No.
the Trail of Tears. But we are proud of how far we've come to acknowledge that that's a bad thing.
I mean, to
And
start
like, it's a
teaching
good-
it.
yes.
We're not.
People
And
don't
like,
want to teach it.
Touch on it sometimes.
Barely.
but-
We haven't even talked
but-
about the Tulsa race riots, and we live in
Exactly.
Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I
I remember I
talked
only learned
about
about the
that.
Tulsa race riots were last year when Mr. Herring mentioned it in an academic team.
Yeah.
Possible you joining.
Yeah. Same.
And then I read Dreamland Burning, and that was a
Oh.
whole
Yeah, I'm about to
Yeah.
read that. I haven't read it yet.
fantastic.
Read it.
Read Dreamland Burning, so beautiful.
Great.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, acknowledgement. That's what
It
yeah,
really does
It
boil
really
down to
does,
just
yeah.
acknowledging the fact that
Pretty
we,
much everything.
like the ground's been toiled with all sorts of things, blood,
Mhm.
sweat, tears,
pain, happiness, love. It's
Yeah,
everything.
family.
And real nationalism is saying, I see all these faults and all this past. This is the past my country has gone through, but I am still proud of how far we've come
Mhm.
to being what we are, and I know we still have to do more. But you know,
And then brotherhood as well, because I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about the first colonies and everything, there wasn't a whole lot of them there. I mean,
No.
but they had to survive by themselves, and that required
Well, that's
some lax.
Some chutzpah.
Some chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
so yeah,
And some gusto, you know.
Yeah.
Guess so. Yes.
so nationalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so in conclusion, America's great, but it's not
Not
like
amazing.
it's not perfect. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
perfect.
You have to
Nothing's
see that it's
perfect.
great. You really need to acknowledge how it became what it is,
For
and that it
sure.
still needs to get better. So, theme song.
All right.
All right.
Right.
Let's go.
Woo. American teenagers, y'all.
Sweet man.